We tried that over at KABC, but it just never really. I remember that little. Anyway.
Too many war stories.
Yeah.
Well, you've had an interesting life, Joe.
Yeah. Rarely dull.
Sure.
Well, knowing Leon's and hearing about yours, all three of us have a couple of things in common. One is that where I ended up in life was nowhere where I was thinking I was heading. I mean, it changed course several times, and I never had an end goal, just short-term goals, and you know, they keyed together and ended up a pretty good path. But you wouldn't, if you backtrack me, you say this guy is crazy. You know?
Believe it or not, when I got out of high school, I went to Citrus College, and they had a huge automotive department, and I wanted to be a mechanic, like you wouldn't believe. I wanted to be. You ever seen American Graffiti?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I wanted to be John Milner, you know, and to this day, I have all the cars from the movie. You know, I've got a 32 Ford, looks exactly like the movie, the 55 Chevy, the 51 Merc, the 58 Impala.
Corvette.
Yeah, you know, so I've got all these cars. And that was what I wanted to be. And the school thing just didn't work out for me. Like I said, my papa just died. I just got kicked out of the baseball team, and I was just a mess. So I did the first thing everybody does. I went to work for In-N-Out. And I worked for In-N-Out, met my wife there, and okay, we're on air now. You know, met her there. You know, we got married and had a kid, and then so I got into management at In-N-Out, and I hated it. My life was miserable working for In-N-Out.
Yeah.
And so I left there in 1984. Started in '78, left in '84, and I've been working for myself ever since.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you found your niche.
Yeah.
We all do.
And now I got 2 gun stores and gun auction, and eBay
Employees.
stores. Huh?
Employees.
Yeah, employees. Been a hell of a ride.
Been a good ride. Same with me. I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do as a kid, so I'm lucky. When I was 4 or 5 years, I wanted to be a race car driver. That was my end thing that I wanted to do. Coming from North Carolina, all I cared about was racing. Race. And I still have the weakness today. But that's all I wanted to do is race and come to California for 3 months, still here. Had a job waiting for me. Because in those days, back in the 50s, you had to buy your own race car. You know, so I couldn't make enough money. But I was working for Lincoln Mercury, Thunderbird mechanic. Couldn't make enough money to buy a race car, and I had a job. My brother was out here and got a job at a transmission shop. I was a transmission expert. I learned all about automatic transmissions. Fascinated me how they work, you know. And so I had a job. When I came out here and saw all those hot rods running around the streets and everything, I said, wow. I just stayed. It was the best thing.
Yeah. I grew up here, and then my mom grew up in West Seattle, so she decided after my sophomore year of high school that we were going to move there. So we went up there for a bit and came back.
Seattle, good thing you got out of there.
No, man. I hated it there. They don't like Californians there.
Yeah. These days, I don't admit it to a lot of people. I was born and raised in San Francisco.
Oh, it was a good place once.
Oh,
just like Southern California was.
If you're going to grow up in a city, as
right.
back in those days, that was the city to grow up in. It was so cool. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Then when I was 15, 16, we moved to Philadelphia from San Francisco, and talk about a climate, cultural.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, change was just dramatic change. Surprised I didn't go crazier than I did, but survived it.
Yeah, that's a big change.
Oh, huge, yeah. The only common thread was that they both had docks.
Mm-hmm.
The Delaware River, and of course San Francisco, huge, bunch of docks. And I've always been kind of interested in ships and docks and fishing and all that, so it worked out good in that regard.
Well, we had Pike Street, up in Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody takes the bus in Seattle, at least they used to. You know, everybody takes a bus up there, and so you could get down there from. I lived up in West Seattle and used to go downtown all the time, go down to the wharfs and.
Yeah, that Pike Street fish place, is that where they toss the fish around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went there a couple times as
I've
a
been
tourist.
there several times.
Yeah.
I could not wait. Soon as I got out of there, or as soon as I got out of school. I said,
Yeah.
that guy just keeps walking by. I don't know who the hell.
So
he
you
is.
have quite a team when you do the show here.
Yeah, we got Kevin, and usually RJ's in there answering the phones, and then we got Ryan over here, and this guy
But
here.
you have people in here too.
With Jimmy and Mark, yeah.
Mark.
Jimmy and Mark. And Mark had a gig, and Jimmy's boys are little, and he didn't want to.
Right.
And he told me he was going to try and come. I'm kind of surprised he's not here. I guess he ain't coming. He ain't here by now. He ain't coming. So this is what it is. I was hoping he was going to get on so he could read Facebook for me. You're going to have to do Facebook. Okay, because...
Let me ask you, when you
It's dark.
Sacramento and discuss this stuff, what kind of reception would you receive in Sacramento? And
Facebook,
what capacity would you go to Sacramento and who would you speak to?
Yeah, we're on Facebook, Rumble, which is kind of a conservative version of Facebook, and YouTube Live.
Wow.
So, yeah. We get, I don't know, 30, 40 people on each one of them live during the show, but they get about 2,000 views throughout the week. So
So last weekend, I'll put the questions in the message box.
yeah, because Jimmy just finally answered me. He ain't coming. So.
Okay. So we got 13 on Rumble right now, 14 on Facebook, and 6 on YouTube viewing.
Yeah, okay.
So
Well,
I'll start populating messages.
All right. Well, tell him I said, hey. Well, hey.
Well, you just did it.
Look who I got.
I've been fighting this damn cold or whatever.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them going around. One of my grandbabies showed up for Christmas pretty sick. She's only 6, 7 months old.
God. I went to see my daughter for Christmas, and I'm there 2 or 3 days, and all of a sudden I came down with it. I think I went to church, and that caused it. It was a crowd church. They go to the special church.
No, if you got sick with
There we are. That's us right now.
Oh, wow. Damn, I don't look very good. I like the one up at the top.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We can get a few of those now and then. Oh, Dave Van Buren says, hey, Leon.
Hello.
I don't know who else is on.
Oh, you're busy with that.
And I don't know how to get to the other ones. I let Mark and Jimmy are much more adept at this internet stuff than me. I tried to do it last week when it was just me and Mark, and I can't concentrate on the show and try and read
Right.
stuff. It just wasn't working. So I just said I give up.
Yeah, you got to stick with it. Concentrate on the show.
Yep, and you know we're getting about 35,000 listeners live now, and we got 30 online and 35,000. So I need to concentrate on the 35,000.
Sure.
Nothing against you guys on Facebook or nothing. But it's just how it is.
So the cameras are here for Facebook.
Yeah, for Facebook and the other internet machines. See what this. I'll figure it out later. This chair's trying to eat my junk.
You don't. All those keys you have on your side, you don't use those in the ignition, do you?
No.
Good.
I know better.
Yeah.
Made a lot of money,
What?
people doing that.
Yeah, they say you can tell a man's stress by how many keys. That's one shop, this is the other shop, and this is stuff around the house. Yeah, I keep my keys, if I'm driving a car, I only got 2 or 3 keys.
Oh, people come in the shop, and especially ladies, they got all that crap hanging all over, and the keys, a pop metal, after they sit there and swing back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It deteriorates the steering column.
Yeah.
It's pop metal and it just wears it out.
Well aware.
The ignition switches on general aviation aircraft had an AD because people were having a bunch of keys on their airplane key and would hang in there, and with the airplane bouncing around, what have you, it broke some of those, and that was part of your ignition sequence. And
The new Bonanzas don't have a key.
that's right. A lot of airplanes don't anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that blue truck down there don't. I get a fob,
Yeah.
but I just get in and press a button as long as the fob's
That's
in
what
there.
my car does.
Yeah.
Yeah, military aircraft rarely have even a door key, and for the ignition, you just, it's a push button,
See, if I was going to have only airplane I want to get in is a Corsair.
That's a cool airplane.
Yeah, something about those wings,
Yeah, the gull wing,
Yeah,
yep.
just always
Very cool.
interested me.
Yeah,
Of course, growing up on that Black Sheep Squadron TV show.
exactly, yeah. They filmed that right there at Indian Dunes, just west of what is now Magic Mountain,
Yeah, okay.
in that Santa Clarita Valley there.
Well, I want to thank you.
Little dirt strip that they kind of took over for the production.
Ronald Stein is the energy.
Yeah, that was a
advisor for the Park.
good show. Bob Conrad
Yeah.
and Red West, who was Elvis's bodyguard. That was the sergeant that was always ready to rumble.
Oh, that's, yeah, the hardcore guy.
Yeah. Mud Marine. Yeah.
Right.
And the rest of the guys I don't remember so much, but
Ronald, thanks for being a guest. And we'll see you soon. Happy
I
New
think
Year.
Dan Blocker's son was in part of that
Yeah.
crest.
he was one of the
Yeah.
pilots.
Yeah.
John Larroquette, I think, was one of the pilots.
I think you're right.
He
yeah.
went on to be
Oh, yeah.
on something or other, and then one of the guys that was on Magnum PI, Larry Minetti, I think is his name.
That sounds right, yeah.
Yeah, he was on that too.
I knew several of the pilots flying the airplanes.
The reason I took it for the camera once, I was going to throw it in the trash. And I just put it in case.
Oh, everybody gets a big kick out of it, and then once every 6 months they get in there. Oh,
Clean
what's
it.
all this?
Not a trash can.
Yeah. Oh, guess who's already calling in? Richard.
Richard. We talked about Richard
Yeah.
coming over here.
Yeah,
We mentioned.
I've known Richard quite a while, and interesting guy.
Yeah.
He's harmless, but he's different.
They called him my show for years.
He's been calling into mine for a
Yeah.
couple, so yeah.
I know. Yes, she was at KBC.
Yeah, the guy you were talking about, Art, was taking some ground school from Richard Mend.
Yeah, Art wanted to learn to fly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he
Interesting.
wanted to quit radio and be an airline pilot. So Art is, Richard is an instructor.
Oh, okay.
A ground instructor more than a flying instructor, yeah.
No, oh, his question: what's better, a 45 or a 9mm? Oh boy.
Depends on,
Yeah,
both good if they work.
that's a pretty loaded question.
Ba-doop, ba-doop, boop.
Yeah. It's a good way to start a fight in a lot of places.
Yeah, the argument will go on all night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this whole gun thing is a big mess for people like me who like to carry a gun.
Mm-hmm.
I had a CCW. I had it home in Ariad, San Bernardino.
I got a question. Does all rifling go clockwise, looking down the barrel?
As far as I know, yeah.
Do we know why?
No,
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, it just does. Yeah.
Just like, throw something out there.
And I could be wrong too, for all I know. Not one of my expertise is.
Well, I got my Army commission in the artillery, and one thing that you do is you check the bore for being clear,
Right.
and they always went that way. And I thought, well, okay. And then all the guns I've owned, only a few, they all seem to go clockwise too, looking, trajectory-wise. I don't know why.
really don't make any difference because it goes to the next chamber anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it goes from.
Yeah, I mean, I just wonder, why is it preference to have the bullet rotating
I don't know
clockwise?
that it make any difference.
I don't think it does. It just, like, they all go that way, though.
Yeah. What's this one? That one's clockwise.
What's that?
That's down a barrel. That's what the
Oh.
graphic is.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what that was.
Yeah, we got some Holland and Holland double rifles in for my February auction that are in 8-bore.
Jeez.
Yeah, they're the size of a quarter. It
Knock you on your butt, too.
Oh yeah, both ends. Yeah, they're old Africa guns. They were made in the 1880s or early 1890s, and they're smooth bore, except about this much at the end. It's rifled in case you decide to shoot a slug, but you can shoot an 8-gauge shotgun out of it also.
Oh.
Yeah. We're expecting somewhere between 20 and 40,000 a piece for those. So
Gee.
should be a good day.
It will be a good day, yeah. It's growing
Mm.
since you started.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, moving to Orange and people getting to know that somebody's there again is big. We got last week I think I said we got 100 on Monday, 300 on Wednesday.
Guns in.
Yeah,
God, you got to register all those and
Mm.
make notes, too. Paperwork.
have to hold them for 30 days before we can put them out for sale.
Wow.
Just
The
goes
same
on.
thing on a used gun. You have to wait a while to
30 days. We have to import the make, model, serial number, caliber, and color. Why color, I don't know, but into the Department of Justice along with the seller's name, and then we have to sit on them for 30 days, and then we can sell them.
Make sure to cut so my phone don't buzz, go off.
Excuse me.
Oh, Heidi just texted me.
Oh, or
Happy New Year. What time and what station are you on?
I'm going to turn mine off so I don't have any problems. There, I don't have to worry about it.
And these headphones are nice and they work, not like KABC's.
Yeah, I brought my own, but these,
Yeah, these ones are fine. George, what was your last name?
Hewlett, like Hewlett Packard.
Okay.
Spelled differently, but that's close enough. We had a running joke on the show for years about me trying, because I got a bunch of cars, but I always wanted to get a Corsair, but I'd have to sell all my cars 4 times in order to afford a piece of junk Corsair. Yeah, and there aren't any piece of junks around.
No.
They're all restored and they're all well over $1 million.
4 to 6.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a few here and there, and it's just like, wow. That's a bit out of my price range.
Yeah. Yeah, not so much a good old boys thing anymore.
What's that?
Not so much in the good old boys
Yeah.
collection. Now it's the rich dudes.
Monday morning at 6 on AM 870, The Answer.
Live program is brought to you by the Gunslinger Shops.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea. You're listening to the Gunslinger Hour, brought to you from behind the Iron Curtain in Radio Free, California. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Gunslinger Show right here on KRLA. Okay, let me just get this right out of the pit. Now, if you guys listening to KRLA, and you better be, all week long we've been running a commercial, and it's kind of saying this. KRLA has been here for decades and decades. It used to be a rock and roll station, then it was an oldie station, and during that time we had such greats like Wolfman Jack, The Real Don Steele, Charlie Tuna, and of course the infamous Art LeBeau. Well, tonight we got another legend in here, the one and and only Leon the Motorman. I drug him over from the old station, and he came in because Jimmy and Mark are not going to be able to be here tonight, so I brought in Leon.
I love it, Jeff. Thank you so much for having me in. This is it's great. Great seeing you, and Happy New Year to you. And,
Thank you, you too.
and to all the listeners and all my fans and your fans.
Well,
It's just great.
I don't know if my fan. I think I have any fans. I got people that listen now and again. But and then his friend George Hewitt came over with him.
George is a good friend, so he knows a little bit about guns. I try to not talk cars because guns are made of metal and cars are made of metal, so I figured it all worked.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is a live show. This is New Year's Eve night. It is a little after 7. So if you guys want to call in, part of the reason, when Leon decided to leave the other station, he didn't really get a chance to say goodbye to a lot of people. So I've been plugging it like crazy. So if you guys want to call in, you want to talk about cars, you want to talk about guns, I don't care.
And George is an expert on airplanes.
And there you go. So any of this stuff you want to talk about, it doesn't have to be a gun. If you want to talk cars, or you just want to say thank you to Leon for 40, how many?
44 years. Actually, tomorrow would be 44 years.
No kidding. I mean, that is an unbelievable run. We had... That's just awesome. I mean,
it was great, and I loved every single show. I never regretted one. I mean, I loved it because it was all about my subject. It's like you with the guns. It's all about the subject. If you know your subject, George knows airplanes and military planes, and it's just you enjoy it. If you enjoy what you do, I'd love it. I'd do it all over again.
Same here. Same here. I wish I'd have started earlier. Because, this August will be 5 years. Can you believe that?
Wow. Well, I couldn't have started earlier because people would not have understood me.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Well, no, it's because everybody else has an accent.
I didn't have an accent until I came to California.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so anyway, if you want to give us a call, it's 866-870-KRLA, which is 5752. So 866-870-5752. Give us a call. You want to talk to Leon? You want to say thank you for 44 years?
44 years.
Feel free.
Wonderful years.
It's just a for fun show tonight, and so
George knows a lot about military planes. Anything he's just an expert in all of those things.
There you go. Really quick, as a first segment, I usually tell what's going on. We're just about done with February 17th is our next auction, and our catalog is just about done. We have about 30 more guns to describe and about 100 guns to take pictures of. We'll have our picture guy in this week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So I'm hoping by about the first week of January, we'll be up at gunslingerauctions.com. The catalog should be ready. You guys ain't gonna believe it. We got stuff that's gonna knock your socks off and put them back on for you.
Really?
Oh man. Oh, the double guns. I was telling you guys, we got a whole collection of. We've got Holland and Holland double guns, 8 bores. We've got a Boss double gun. We've got a Purdy double gun. That's Purdy, P-U-R-D-Y, by the way. It's Purdy too, but
I thought you was looking at me when you said that.
I was. What are you talking about? Anyway, hey, you know what? Speaking of old timies, Richard's on the line. You want to say hey?
Richard, good
there he is.
evening and Happy New Year, my good friend Richard.
Yeah. Hey, Motorman, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, my friend. Happy New Year to you. And George says Happy New Year to you, too.
Happy New Year, Richard.
Happy New Year, George. I left you a message earlier.
I got it, buddy. Thanks a lot.
What do you have for us today?
I wanted to ask Chef's opinion on what's better, a 45 or a 9mm.
You really want to get me in hot water already,
What's
don't
the
you?
purpose? I mean, which one it would be? Maybe Jeff would know why one over the other.
You prefer a 45 or 9mm? Now I know a 45, I think, has a bigger kick to it.
It does. It's got substantial recoil. I'm going to make about half of my audience happy here and half of them upset, but I'm a 9mm guy. You can get a 147 grain semi-wad cutter, or I'm not semi-wad cutter, a hollow point, plus P kind of round, and it will do wonders. And the reason being, for me, you can get more than one shot off if needed. With a 45, it can take you off shot, and you may not be able to get your second shot in a timely manner. So for me, I'm a 9mm guy.
Well, let me ask you a question while he's on there. hollow points, are they legal?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, I didn't know. I
Yeah.
thought they were illegal. Hollow
No,
points.
hollow points for now. We
That's
are
true.
in California, but for now they are still legal. And for years and years, I used to say I don't carry hollow points in my concealed guns because of a case that happened in Phoenix, of all places, where a school teacher, father of 5, just pillar of the community, was out hiking and got attacked by a bunch of dogs. He picked up a large stick to chase away the dogs. Well, the crazy owner of the dogs was out there in the middle of the desert doing who knows what, and he attacked the man. The man said, "I'm armed, leave me alone." He wouldn't do it. He shot him. He rendered first aid, went and flagged cars down, got him to the hospital. Man died, and they convicted him of second-degree murder. Why? Because he had hollow points in his gun, and the head of the jury said, "And those are made to kill."
I heard that. That's why I asked that
Yeah,
question.
and so for years and years, I did not carry hollow points, but at this, I've got to the point where I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6.
makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
So that's the story on that. But as far as I'm concerned, I rather use 9mm. The other thing is it's less expensive, and you can shoot them at the range and practice with them, which is very important. And I can shoot a lot of 9mm and not hurt my hand, whereas a 45, I shoot some and my hand starts to hurt. So.
Well, I agree with that. I've done a little shooting myself, and with heavy guns like that, I absolutely own a 9mm.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's at, but
It's in the bottom of the ocean. It was flying one day, and out the window it went. Anyway, does that answer your question, Richard?
It does. That's what I want to hear.
Okay, well, real quick, don't you have some kind of an airplane question for Leon?
Well, let's see. Not really, but I was going to tell you, what would you be concerned about if you met a snowman with teeth?
snowman with teeth.
A lot of things I come, but I give what?
Frostbite.
No. Fair enough. All right, Richard.
Richard. Nice
As
talking
always,
to you, Richard.
We'll talk to you next week.
Happy New
And
Year.
Leon, for you to get back on the radio.
Well, I'm working on it. You never know what 2024 will bring.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You know what, Richard? Stay listening to the show, because we'll get into that in a little bit.
Very good. Okay.
Meantime, Richard, you can hear him on 119.3 at Van Nuys.
There you go. Take care, Richard. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a happy New Year.
Thanks,
See
sir.
ya.
You too. Okay, and that opens up a line at 1-866-870-5752, right?
Or 866-870 KRLA.
There you go. I know. I still want to do the old number because that was such an easy number.
Yeah. The other number was very easy, but this is easy once you I mentioned KRLA.
Yep. Well, you know what? We got about 2 minutes, and somebody that usually hangs around the show wants to say, "Hey, real quick, what's up, Mark?"
Hey, good evening. How are you doing?
Well, we're hanging in there, just talking guns, cars, and airplanes.
And I can't miss the opportunity. If you have, first of all, you're absolutely incorrect about the 9 versus the 45. But that's all right. We can agree to disagree.
I know.
You know, I'm the
you know that Jeff is always right.
Yeah, just ask anybody.
No, of course he is. He makes some really good points. But listen, you've got George on, and I have a question for George, especially given his expertise with military aircraft.
Okay.
I have heard, and Richard Ira Bong, America's top-scoring ace in the Second World War, said that because of the counter-rotating props from a P-38 Lightning, that he could actually turn inside of a Japanese Zero, which is one of the nimblest aircraft of that conflict. Discuss. Is there any truth to that?
Well, I've heard that story before, and of course, Bong was an exceptional pilot. Obviously, a triple ace and better than all the rest of the guys around him. That airplane was very maneuverable for a twin engine. I'm not sure if it could actually turn completely around or inside a Zero's turn radius, but he would outmaneuver those Zeros. That's why he has such a high kill ratio.
Now, obviously, there was some genius going on, but you have to live long enough to learn to master it, right?
Exactly.
Well, that was my big question.
Okay.
Good question. Thank you.
Nice talking to you.
I wish I was there. Some of us have to work for a living here, but You guys have a wonderful New Year's Eve
Well,
and
what
a
kind-
wonderful New Year, and I look forward to seeing y'all.
Thanks,
All
Mark.
right, question. What kind of motorcycle are you riding now?
I just went on the Run for the Roses up to the Newcomb's Ranch. It was about 18 degrees up there when we got up there. That's a little bit crazy. I took my Triumph 1200 Scrambler
Okay.
because I wasn't sure what kind of road conditions or whether or not we'd be meeting any
I've
snow.
had one of those.
All right. Mark, we got to go. We're coming up on a hard break.
Absolutely.
See you
guys
next
have a
week.
Great night.
Okay, talk to you later.
Starting having a good time.
Yeah, and that opens up a line, 1-866-870-KRLA. You're listening to Gunslingers right here. Well, the Gunslinger Motorman Show right here on KRLA. And we'll be back right after this. Hey, Jeff from Gunslingers Gun Shop and Auctions in Azusa and the City of Orange. I believe in the Second Amendment, and I believe every American has the right to protect themselves and their family. I also believe the best possible advice on firearms. If you want to buy or sell pistols or rifles or
He always calls with a joke.
Oh, Richard, yeah.
Okay.
My staff and I have decades of experience and knowledge. We'll give you great advice
Well,
on
we got
firearms and informed insights
one call on a Smith & Wesson, one call on Leon. Should the grease and electrical contacts. DJ from Orange has comments for Leon. So we're doing okay.
All right.
This is a short break, so. Kevin, where's Rick?
Gunslinger Gun Shop in Azusa and the City of Orange.
That's gunslingerauctions.com.
My pappy said, son, you're going to drive me to drinking if you don't stop driving that hot rod Lincoln.
Love it. I love it.
I think you're going to like all the songs tonight.
Have you heard the story of the hot rod race with the Fords and Lincolns
well,
was setting
Setting the pace. That story's true, I'm here to say, because I was a driving that Model A.
Welcome back, everybody, to Gunslingers. Let me back up on it. We're new because it used to be the Gunslinger Hour, and now it's Gunslingers. But tonight it's the Gunslinger Motorman Show.
An airplane show with George.
There you go. The Gunslinger Motorman Airplane Show. That almost sounds like a song, doesn't it? Anyway, you got him, Kevin?
I have a question for you
Go
real
ahead.
quick. What's the most popular gun right now?
Well, in California, right now, the hottest ticket is a SIG 365. This is a gun that has just got on the California list because California's list, which is the California has a roster of handguns that you can and cannot have, and it just made it on this list, and we cannot keep. I'm getting them 5 and 10 at a time, and we can't keep them.
Well, the reason I asked, knowing I was going to be on this great gunslinger show, is I've researched a little bit. And I asked that question on Google, and it says the AK-47.
Well, across the entire world, that is probably the most popular firearm because it's literally indestructible. You can pick it up, shoot it, throw it in the mud, pick it up, shoot it.
Wow!
And
it beat out the M16.
Yeah, it's just it's. I'm trying to think of a good car kind of. It's just. It always works. There's never a problem with it. Like I said, you could throw it in the mud.
You don't talk about cars.
Yeah. I mean, it's just every time you turn the key, it's going to go boom.
Right.
It's just the way it goes. Okay, we got. You know what? We've got George and Ron and DJ on hold, guys. We got to get to Rick from the CRPA. Don't hang up. We will get to your calls. Anybody else? It's 866-870-5752. Give us a call, and we'll get to you as soon as we get finished with Rick. Okay, Rick, how are you?
It's been a week, brother.
I tell you, yeah, yesterday was interesting, right?
Yeah, it's gotten more interesting as the weekends went on.
Oy.
So yesterday was not a good day for us. The governor and the attorney general, no surprise, stacked a 3-judge panel to turn over Judge Carney's ruling in the May v. Bonta case, which was going after Senate Bill 2. That got passed after we defeated a year before when it was Senate Bill 918, and that's the probably the most massive violation of the Second Amendment in federal history. We do believe it's going to create now a constitutional crisis, and people need to understand because this was literally a 3-judge panel saying the Constitution doesn't matter, and we would rather let the state have its way and circumvent the Constitution and part of the original Bill of Rights, rather than tell them they had to wait till February to find out what the actual Ninth Circuit would say. And so this is huge. We've got people working around the clock. It looks like people in California could be denied their Second Amendment rights for the next 2.5 months.
Unbelievable.
So it's huge, and then we've got people going after, and it doesn't just affect. But people got to realize this doesn't affect your Second Amendment. I mean, this now says that a state can pass anything it wants, and we already see, in several of the court cases where we've been fighting for Second Amendment rights, we fought because, for example, in Senate Bill 2, it dictates that businesses have to put out a sign that says it's okay for somebody to come into their, place of business,
right,
like you would have to, with a firearm, which has never been required. That's called compelled speech. That's a violation of the First Amendment. And the governor and the attorney general don't care. And the ironic thing that the media hasn't picked up on is Newsom literally said yesterday, he's like, this is just common sense laws to keep us safe from gun violence. Wait a second. This impacts Second Amendment people who have gotten a CCW, who have passed more background checks than the average person does for anything in society, has been verified, re-verified, in some cases went through psychological exams, paid exorbitant fees to exercise the constitutional right. And wait, we don't even make up 0.1% of any type of crime. Yeah. And yet, that's who he goes after in this bill, and then tries to claim this is what's going to keep us safe from people on drugs, people who have mental issues, terrorists, everything else, by going after law-abiding constitutional citizens.
Yeah.
I know, I sound a little fired up.
No, you should be, as I am, as everybody should be that's listening.
So this is, it really, I mean, I do not say things lightly. You've known me for quite a while, Jeff. I don't say things like constitutional crisis lightly, because I don't take this stuff lightly in the space that I work. But this kangaroo court circus of a panel that was put together and handpicked by the Attorney General was nothing more than yes people.
Of course.
And to the point of they violated a whole lot of things. And so, and at the same time, you're seeing the left try to say who on the Supreme Court can sit on what case. And this is a gross overreach of the federal Constitution, of where the legislature is not to be involved in the judicial. They're not. And yet, they're breaking that every way, and it's because they have absolutely no respect for the rule of law.
Well, we're coming up on 24. It's an election year, and we all know that Governor Greasy is going to try and run for president. So therefore, he's grandstanding. We all know what this is, and I hope this comes back to bite him on his ass, because this is just so bad.
Well, we're doing everything we can, and the word out of Sacramento is I'm going to be busy on your show for the next few weeks, because the word out of Sacramento is they're going for broke. And I said this a year ago when we had the famous case back in New York with the Supreme Court, the Bruin, that set up this anger and this mess that we're facing now in California, that, we had our midway, so to speak, using that metaphor from World War II,
right,
and they were going to make us fight for everything. And that's not an exaggeration.
No.
They have numbers of bills coming out to force insurance, to force all new types of procedures, who can and can't touch a firearm, when they can touch it, how they can touch it. It's really becoming a nanny state.
Well, and again, folks, if your government doesn't trust you, what are they up to?
Right.
Go figure.
And also look at the facts. They're going after law-abiding people under the guise of making us safer, yet they're letting criminals out earlier. They're, handcuffing law enforcement, devaluing law enforcement, devaluing first responders, and making it easier and easier for people to commit crimes.
Well,
and then telling those of us that want to keep our families safe, because we have some amazing people in the first responder community, but, they're sometimes, 10, 20, 30, 40, sometimes an hour away, depending on what's going on that evening or part of the day. And, by the time we get there, and I know from being a medic, by the time you get there, you are picking up pieces. You're not stopping stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're removing a person's right to choose. And so even those people listening are like, well, I don't like firearms. I respect that if you don't like them, but you know what? People have rights. You know, I may not like that someone smokes, but they have a right to smoke. I may not like something somebody drinks. They have a right to drink. People have rights.
Yep.
And these rights are being arbitrarily taken away under false pretenses.
And don't forget, there's never been a band of criminals that got together and took over a government. But there has definitely been bands of regular people that got tired of being tyrannicized. Is it?
Yeah.
that did. That's how this country got started. We got tired of old King George, and we armed ourselves, and we went to war. And that's what they're afraid of, and that's why they want to take away our firearms.
Yeah, and the irony is, if you look at what the federal administration has done, they have literally went to countries that didn't have firearms, like, Ukraine, and armed everybody.
Yeah. Well, and don't forget they left a whole bunch of stuff in Afghanistan, too.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Because you have to arm these terrorists because you got to make it fair.
And then the ultimate irony is the man who did that occupies the Oval right now, is the same one that looks at all of us and goes, well, why do you want to have your firearms? It's not like you're going to stop an F-16. Well, it seems like a lot of people over in Afghanistan and Iraq stopped a lot of things, including F-16, with very rudimentary firearms that they used to get other things that weren't so rudimentary. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of the things he's saying, and I'm not advocating we rise up against the government, so I don't even want to take it that way, but I'm just saying he talks out of both sides of his mouth, as do the governor and everybody else, because, this is a governor that has one of the tightest security details. Yet he tells the rest of us when we're up in Sacramento, like, you know what? You're perfectly safe. You don't need those firearms. You don't need this. Yeah, well, I also don't walk around with 65 armed highway patrolmen on horses and motorcycles and cars and SUVs and everything else.
Yeah, well,
but he does.
When it comes to regular folks, when seconds count, the cops are only 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
All right, Rick, we're running out of time already. Holy cow. Anybody needs to get a hold of you or donate their time, their money, want to join, how do they get a hold of you?
Contact at crpa.org. And please, folks, write in and tell us how upset you are, because that is stuff we can use in the courtroom. And join us at crpa.org. We can use everybody that we can get in this fight.
You got a spare $100, send it to them. They need it, folks. All right, Rick, thanks. Right. And next week.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, I know you're going to be a little haggard next week, but we'll have you on.
Okay, take care.
Thanks, Rick. Talk to you later.
Okay.
All right.
Very interesting.
Very scary. These are scary times, folks. And again, you're on your own. If something happens, you're on your own.
Cars, they have more people lose their lives in car accidents than with firearms.
More people die from baseball bats, hammers. More people die in their backyard in the swimming pool. 5 times more people are killed by doctors than a firearm.
I got a theory. They're going to start coming out with electric guns.
Electric guns.
Because the same electric car, the government can hit a button
and shut it off. Absolutely. All right, you're listening to the Gunslinger Motorman Airplane Show, and we'll be back right after this.
You have a move coming up, but who wants to deal with endless?
And they know him.
Oh. Wow.
How's everything working?
Everything's functioning.
Yay.
Just different seats. I'm trying to.
Oh.
Unfortunately, with that one shot, I was getting a lot of George's head.
Oh, you lucky devil, you.
I felt very blessed, but see how that works out. And most of the comments are Miss Leon on the air, love Leon and stuff. And there hasn't been a direct question, but you're getting a lot of props and stuff on all 3 networks.
Oh,
so,
very good.
Just want to let you know.
You haven't lost your touch.
Yeah, lost it.
Well, we got 2 out of 3 people waiting on Leon. So
there you go.
When we go back to things, I'm just going to let you tell me when, and I'll click it, and you take the call.
That's what 44 years will do for you.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Well, I was doing some research today, just since it's a gun show, last thing, but I don't know or bring it up, who made Country, I guess, made the first gun.
Oh boy, I think China did.
China.
Yeah.
10th century. They made guns.
Yeah.
They invented gunpowder, in fact.
Yeah,
The Chinese
well,
did.
and they were shooting rocks.
Well, yeah. Well, and of course, they invented the gunpowder for rockets. They had rockets before they had guns.
Yeah.
And they figured out that they could.
Right. I've just done
Yeah,
that. You know, the U.S. has the most guns owners in the United States.
Yeah, and California, I think, is the biggest market.
Yeah.
In the union, we sell a lot of guns. You know, my shop up in Azusa, we had $12,000 on just the credit card machine on Friday.
Gee.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, but it's just it's too bad the government.
What's that?
It's too bad. Like he said, you know, Rick said, you know, he walks around with all these, you know, 60 loaded, you know, people walking him around, driving him around. He's a piece of work. He's going to run for president. That's really going to be.
Yeah.
And he can talk.
Oh yeah.
God,
he can talk and never answer.
Right.
Yeah, you can never answer the question. Yeah. Schmoozes his way through life.
Yeah, every song tonight is car related.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I handpick all the songs for the show. I used to do it with KB.
Anywhere, you just might miss it. We are AM 870. The Answer.
I love it.
Well, she got her daddy's car and she cruised to the hamburger stand now. See if she forgot all about the library like she told her old man now. Welcome back to the Gunslinger Motorman Airplane Show. Again, this is a live show, and you can reach us at 866-870-5752. You want to call in, talk to Leon, the Motorman, give us a call. In fact, there's a caller just as we speak. He's been waiting a long time, so I'm going to go ahead and let you say hello.
Uh-oh.
This is Ron in L.A. Go ahead.
Hello, Ron. Welcome to the Gunslinger Show.
Ron, you still there?
Yes. Should dielectric grease be used on ground connections to painted body parts?
Say that again. Electric wire connections.
Grease be used on ground connections to painted body parts.
He wants to know if you should use grease on electrical parts that are painted.
Well, you could use but like they use on radios and things of this nature that will work with electrical connection, but not just take some wheel bearing grease and for that. No, I would not do that.
But this is the dielectric grease.
Well, metric grease, I don't know a metric grease, but they make grease for radios.
The ones they use on spark plugs.
Well, spark plugs, yeah, they do that to keep the spark plugs from seizing to the cylinder head to get out. But airplanes, we do that too. We put special lube on the
threads.
On the threads, but that's it. It's not on the connector, not on the spark plug wire. If you do that, you may have a misfire.
See what you did there.
Yeah, no, do not put it on the wire at all. I thought you was talking about just radio connections, things of this nature.
I'm thinking about right on the threads of the screw.
Just on the threaded part. Very, very minor, because what has happened over the years is that engines have come out with aluminum cylinder heads, and they got steel spark plugs. So when they put in there, if you don't have a lubricant, it'll seize. The plugs will seize to the head, and when you take the spark plug out, you got a heap of problems. Mm-hmm. Then we have to rethread it and put a helicoil in it, and then put it back together, or put a new cylinder head on it. So I advise, but don't just cater to.
Okay then.
Don't cater to plug, or just put a bunch of grease on it.
Excuse me?
Don't put a lot of grease, just very small amount.
Okay.
And they make a special grease just for spark plugs, by the way. Let me mention that to you. So regular grease will just cook itself off over the heat, but they do make for airplanes we use it for putting spark plugs in, and the special grease just for that.
I think they call it anti-seize.
Anti-seize, that's correct.
Okay, Ron?
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care now. Okay, and that opens up a line at 866-870-5752. You want to talk cars? You want to talk guns? You want to talk airplanes? Give us a call. We cover it all. Okay, and speaking of which, so we were talking about this earlier. Since you're not on Sunday mornings no more, what are you thinking about doing?
Well, everybody's talking to me about podcasting, and so I'm thinking about putting a podcast together and getting back on and maybe run it on Sunday mornings, my same time slot.
That would be
for
cool.
44 years,
Yeah.
and so I'm thinking about doing it and interviewing people, and just because I love it and I miss my listeners, I love all my listeners and friends, and I'd like to get back. I really do miss everyone.
I bet. I don't know what I'd do without this show. I mean, sometimes I think, oh, why do I do this? Nobody's listening anyway. But then,
well, there's a lot of it that with the station, I wasn't real concerned. I was upset. I was doing the show free.
Yeah.
Doing the show free, and I enjoyed it, but it just got to the point where it wasn't working.
Understood. I remember when the axe came down the very first time,
right?
And they fired everybody, and because we're a brokerage show, they can't fire me. I have to quit,
right?
And so, but I told him, I says, listen, if Leon's done, so are we. We'll go somewhere else.
They fired everybody. But they kept me. They came to me. We'd love to have you stay. Would you stay? We can't pay you, but would you stay? And I said, sure, I'll pay. But then it got to the point where it's only like 3 people running the whole station.
Yeah, it got pretty bad over there. That's one of the reasons why we left. Plus, believe it or not, we were doing the morning show there and rebroadcasting it here the next night for a bit. And I just thought, okay, wait. So I don't have to get up at dark 30 and drive an hour and
that's true
through L.A. I can, because Glendale's a lot easier to get to than, the other station down.
Other station wasn't that far from me, and it's about the same. Here's a little further, but I don't mind. It's
yeah. Well, for me, the drive in, as soon as you got off at the one street and it was homeless.
Well, I got a nice fast car, so it's no problem.
Oh, I got 1 or 2 of those myself. Yeah. Okay.
A couple of them.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get to. Let's see. Who's been waiting the longest? George. He's got an actual gun question. George, thanks for waiting so long. What can we do for you?
Well, I just wanted to tell you that Rich, that gentleman from the California Rifle and Pistol Association, he doesn't have to worry about, the ninth, circuit judges, because remember on the magazine capacity question, both the trial court and the appeals court ruled that the like in a 9mm pistol, 15-round magazine was the way the gun was designed. So it was part of the gun, and the state could not, as the Second Amendment says, there will be no additions or
understood. Except that was one, George. That was one judge, Judge Benitez, down in San Diego, who said that.
And then it went into the appeals court, and it was a 2-to-1 decision in the appeals court.
Yeah, and then it went to the en banc, which is a 9-judge.
That's right, the en banc with all the freaks, phonies, and frauds.
Correct, and they're the ones that said no. What the judge said is not right, and now it's waiting to be seen in front of the Supreme Court, and that's going to be interesting because if the Supreme Court spanks the Ninth Circuit of Appeals, then we could be in real good.
That's right, and so that's.
I was going to say pooping in tall cotton there, but I don't think you could say that on the radio.
I don't get it.
No, we got to gather. We got to gather money for all of that stuff. So we ought to help out as best we can and do it.
Yeah.
Well, my question was about a Smith & Wesson Model 1500. You know those rifles made by the Howa Machine Company in Japan for them.
Right.
And I've even forgotten almost, how I acquired this last century,
Right.
And it's got, the reddish, dark colored finish with the white, faux, staghorn, spacers and everything, and the fancy pistol grip cap. And it was topped with a loophole Vari X3 scope.
Okay.
And it's in 7mm Remington Magnum.
Okay.
I was wondering about how much a rifle like that would be worth if it was to be put in your auction.
Well, here's what kind of condition's it in?
It's in very good condition.
Okay. Hang on, George.
It could be excellent, except that it has been fired,
Mm-hmm.
and there might be, I don't know, fingerprints or squeeze marks on it someplace,
Understood.
you know?
Well, George,
but the finish is 100%.
Okay, George.
On everything.
George, you can't hear me if you keep talking over me. Okay. On the norm, I usually tell people, I got a black car. What'll you give me for it? As far as having me give you a price.
Mm-hmm.
But on this particular one, because having a loophole scope is nice. The gun itself with a decent loophole, say 3 to 9 scope, is going to run you somewhere between $300 and $500 in an auction situation. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, just because this is Smith & Wesson, it doesn't make it rare, scarce, or desirable. It just, they were made for Smith & Wesson by the Howa company.
Mm-hmm.
Howa's still making the same gun. It's a Tikka 1500, I think. It's not rare, scarce. It's,
I see.
it's a firearm. You have a good scope on it, but unfortunately, scopes are like motors in cars. I want a hot rod with a 350, but you want one with a 454, so it doesn't.
Or bigger.
Yeah, exactly. So the scope is kind of. It's almost a toss in.
Now,
yeah.
I know.
But $300 to $500 is about the normal price. Okay.
Okay. Well, Leon, I'm glad to hear you talking too. And for that hot rod Lincoln, I was thinking about a Ford 390. With a decked block and heads and milled out with a good 5-angle valve job and a full house.
Well, there you go.
Great engine.
All right, George. Thanks for the call. Take care now. Okay, real quick, because we're coming up on a break, let's get to a comment for Leon from DJ in Orange. Go ahead.
Hello, DJ.
Hello, I'm here. Mr. Motorman, you absolutely are immense to a community. You've touched lives so much. I got to meet you at several remotes. I got to meet Dixie Bell. I emailed you, told you that. You sent me an email back that fast. It was no surprise. You have touched so many lives.
God bless you,
For
DJ.
Someone to be on the air as long as you have. If I owned the other house you were at, I would have thrown the biggest party for you, but it doesn't matter. It's the highest compliment you can get when lives are touched, and I'm speaking for hundreds of people right now.
Well, thank you. You sort of teared me up a little bit there.
Well, you've earned it. And Rick, if you have time for a very fast question.
Go ahead.
Well, Rick from the CRPA, I know all about Gruesome Newsome here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going for a renewal for my CCW. Do you think he is saying, we're not stopping you from getting your CCW, but you can't use it anywhere? So my instructor said, hey, our class is still on for renewal, but do you know how that works, or is he trying to shut down people for renewing their permit?
Well, from what I understand, because Rick he's a phone caller in, and he's not with us now, but what I understand is they've doubled it from, it used to be an 8-hour class, and now it's a 2-day, 16-hour class for your CCW. But call over to my friends at FT Firearms Training Associates over in Norco, and ask for Bill Murphy, and they'll take care of you over there. That's where I go to get my CCW stuff done, and they'll know, and they'll be able to help you. All righty?
I do it.
Thanks,
Thank you
DJ,
so
for
much.
the kind
Leon,
words.
You are very missed, my friend. Thank you so much.
Couldn't agree
Thank
more.
you.
DJ, thanks. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Okay, and that's we're on a commercial break already. We're 3/4 of the way through the first hour already. All right, you're listening to the Gunslinger Motorman Airplane Show right here on KRLA, and we're going to be right back.
And challenge me then and there to a drag. I said you're on, buddy, mom, just running fine.
Hey, it's Jeff from Gunslinger's Gun Shop and Auctions again. If you want to buy, sell, or trade a firearm, come to Gunslinger Auctions.
That was nice.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot,
Not bad.
So how
you
much?
can't be doing it for 43 years or 44 years and
43 and 9 months and all that.
How much do you pay?
having this deep seating. So
you want to
put me on camera.
okay. work good. I make the big pennies.
So how much do you pay a guy like DJ to call in like that?
Oh, he said you had the PayPal address.
That's really nice. Yeah.
Learn more about our huge gun auction February 17th at Gunslinger.
That's gunslingerauctions.com. Again, gunslingerauctions.com.
She's real fine, my 409. She's real fine, my 409, my 409.
I got a story.
Well, I saved my pennies and I saved my dimes. Giddy up, 409. Before I knew there would be a time.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Gunslinger Motorman Airplane Show. And yeah, I went nuts, and every song tonight has something to do with a car. And you know what? Since we brought up a 409, go ahead.
409, that was my first drag boat.
Yeah.
I had a 409 and the two 4-barrel carburetors on it, and I put a supercharger. I'm a supercharger guy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I own's got to have a supercharger. And so that was my first drag boat, get involved in boat drag racing. Had a 409 in it.
No kidding.
That was way back when they first come out, back in 64, 65.
Yeah. The 409 is so recognizable by the valve cover.
Valve covers.
Yeah.
348 and the 409 had the same shape valve covers on them.
There you go. Okay. You want to get to let's see.
I got an expensive gun. I just don't know. The guy's talking about guns. My dad gave me a gun on my 12th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about going out shooting people, but I lived across the street where I could go shoot tin cans and all this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably very valuable. I was going to ask you what the value of that is. It's a Marlin single shot 22.
Believe it or don't, forever and a day, those things were $50. But over the last 2 years, they have started to climb. The Winchester Model 69 and 69A, this is a single shot where Dad would come behind and pull a little plunger, and then you shoot it, and then you get to work the action. Yeah, and those things were dead for ages. But the last couple of auctions, I've noticed that we're starting to get up to $200 to $400.
Oh, I thought it was $1 million or something.
Well, it's like I always tell people, just because something's old, doesn't mean it's worth much. Because like me, I'm old and I ain't worth nothing. But
I'm not old yet.
Well, yeah, he's 20 years younger than me. I can't figure this out. Him and Jack Benny, they're both 39.
First liar don't have a chance here.
That's 39 twice.
Well, okay, let's go. Let's get to Bob in West LA. Bob, what can we do for you, sir?
Over 50 years ago, I put away in my safe several boxes of Federal Premium cartridges for my 38.
Okay.
And I paid $19.95 for 50 hollow points, 38 specials.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I bought a 357 Colt Python.
Okay.
And they both went into my safe because I got married and we wanted to have kids right away. And my wife told me I had to keep the guns in my safe. And I've done that, and I've completely forgot about the pistol and the cartridges. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering, I know the pistol is still valuable. I never shot it. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if the cartridges are still good.
Let me ask you a quick question. Where is your safe? Is it in the garage?
No, it's in my home.
Okay.
It's a large safe, bolted to the floor.
Good.
And has lots and lots of room in it.
Okay, then yes, those bullets will be just fine.
They would be fine.
Yep, absolutely. If they were in a safe, or if the safe was in the garage, I'd say I'd be a little leery because hot and cold is not good on bullets. But if it's in a temperature that stays pretty much 70 degrees, yeah, and they haven't been exposed to any kind of water or anything, they'll be just fine.
Can I ask Leon a question?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Leon, you're my favorite guy. I wish you were back on the air regularly.
Me too.
Oh, thank you. Me too. I really miss it. I miss everybody, mainly you. You and all the listeners. It just made my life great.
In 2008, I bought a Camry SE V6, and I've kept it immaculate. And the SE was
unique at that time.
Right.
Had the special suspension and brakes and all that, and I still own the car.
Good for you. You saved yourself a lot of money.
And the V6 is not going to be available in 2024. Should I try to grab one, the V6, or will the hybrid four-cylinder turbo be something comparable?
Well, the Toyota is the number one car in the market today. They just came out being the best car of the year. The Toyota Prius is the number one car this year by Motor Trend. Toyota makes a good car. They make, what can I say? I can't say anything about them. I used to, on my show, I used to have, at Thanksgiving, the Turkey Car of the Year award. But nobody makes a bad car anymore. But Toyota has outdone almost all the car manufacturers at this time in all points of longevity, maintenance, everything. So you can't go wrong with a Toyota. It's just a personal thing, whether you want to buy a used car or a new car, spend the money. If you do a lot of driving and traveling, you may want to go with the newer car. But I don't have any quarrels with getting the earlier car.
Okay, Bob got so excited talking to Leon, he hung up on himself. He got tired of hearing. Yeah, so Bob's gone, and I'm wondering if he kept the Camry in the safe with the. He's got a Python and bullets for 50 years. Maybe he kept the Camry in the same safe. He said it was large, and it's not in the garage. So maybe
that's funny.
Yeah, maybe he kept everything in one safe.
Yeah, he got a large safe.
Yeah, it better be.
And just bolted down.
Okay, so. Once again, for those of you wondering, February 17th, that's our next auction. The catalog should be up in the next 2 weeks. So don't forget, go to gunslingerauctions.com. It's gunslingerauctions.com, and you can see everything there. You click on the Bid Now button. You can go to our catalog. Everything will be there in line with all the pictures and descriptions. There'll be 15 to 20 pictures of each firearm, so you can see everything. Anything you want to see live, you can come to the shop. It'll be out. It'll be on display. You can pick it up, look at it, do whatever you want except walk out with it. And we've got lines open. That should not be. We were all full a minute ago. Now we got lines open. 866-870-5752. Okay.
866-870-KRLA.
That's it. That's us. We got a few more minutes. George, what's going on with you over there?
Well, speaking of used cars, I did buy a used car recently on Leon's advice. Took me down to see a friend of his.
Budget car sales.
Budget car sales in Norwalk, and walked around, saw about 6 or 7 different SUVs of the midsize that I was looking for. And the very first one I looked at, I went back to and bought it, and I couldn't be happier. It's a small engine for me, very small, but 2-year-old with only 24,000 miles on it, a Ford Escape. I couldn't be happier.
Nice car.
Yeah.
Nice car.
Very good.
There are a lot of nice cars out there now. It's just, it's sort of amazing when I heard the Toyota Prius. Electric cars, getting a bad rap, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Ford's just cut down production of the F-150 electric car. The dealers are loaded up with electric cars. I am not an electric car fan at all. I bought an electric car.
I remember.
Just to prove to myself, because the manufacturers will give me a new car to test drive anytime I want. But I got to say nice things about it. I can't sit there and tell the truth most of the time. And that happens with all people that's testing a new car and they're on the air. But I did it, and I had it 3 weeks. Couldn't stand the car. George rode in it. He says, "I'll never ride in that car again." It rode so bad.
No kidding.
Yeah, and it was just, and I think it's a way the government's trying to control our lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
With all the electric, something may happen in the future with an advance with the car industry, but I think the internal combustion engine is here to stay for a long time. We got 550 years of oil right under our feet now, and it's just amazing that the government's cramming this down our throat, which I completely disagree with anybody with an electric car. It has no range. You get anxiety attacks and all this with electric car.
Well, they can't keep our electricity on now. Could you imagine if everybody, especially Southern California, we are such a car-oriented community. Everybody's got
no place
3
to charge
cars. Yeah, and could you imagine? Can you imagine the calls? Sorry, I can't make it into work. I couldn't get my car charged.
I showed. I got a picture the other day. Someone sent me. It was cold, and it passed all the electric cars that were sitting on the side of the street.
Yep.
Couldn't make it.
Yeah.
To run there with the air conditioning on, or heater on rather, in the snow. So it's just no way.
One night I'm driving home. There we go. Now a whole bunch of lines are blowing up. Very good. I'm driving home, just minding my own business, and I saw a Prius. Ooh, I guess I shouldn't have said what it was. Well, he had just pulled over, and I saw a little bit of smoke. And by the time, there was about 5 cars between us with a signal, and by the time I got up, that thing was fully engulfed. The guy barely got out.
Wow.
And that thing, when I went by this, because it's the way I go home every day. It's on a little side street, and when I went by there the next day, the road had melted under it.
Very hot.
Yeah.
I got an email also because everybody knows I'm anti-electric car, and it took 30,000 gallons of water to put out a Tesla fire.
Holy cow! Can you imagine?
30,000 gallons of water.
Okay, we got 2 minutes. Let's get to somebody who wants to talk to Leon. What a shock! This is Sean in L.A. Go ahead.
Hello, Sean. Hello, Sean.
How you doing, Leon?
I'm doing great.
Hey,
Here at the Gunslinger Show.
Good. Yeah, sir. Just wanted to tell Jeff, doesn't really matter the caliber, 380, 9mm, 45, 44. It's all about shot placement.
Agreed.
And it's really that's really the issue. Leon, I have a DAF problem on my 2011 4Runner. I got to repair my what do they call the MapQuest thing, the little thing that folds out with the CD player. It stopped working on me.
Well, you got so. Most people do away with those. There's no cars with CD players anymore.
Not anymore.
None of them.
Yeah,
that's a thing of the past.
But I want to fix it. I want to play my Johnny Cash and
I agree.
Patsy Cline and whatever. But they told me it's going to cost $2 or $3 grand to pull the dash out to fix it.
Why don't you just replace the radio with another brand, unless you just want it all original? It's a collectible car. Is I would just go to a radio shop, somebody specialized, and have a new radio put in with that.
Okay.
And that's cheaper than repairing yours. And you'd be lucky if you find somebody that can even repair it. They'll try to sell you another radio, which will be a lot cheaper, and you'll be better off.
Yep.
I see. Okay, I appreciate that. And I wanted to also ask the airplane guy, speaking of electric vehicles, they're trying to hawk or trying to pass electric airplanes. I don't know if you know that, but electric airplanes.
Hey, Sean, we're coming up on a hard break. Listen, what we'll do is I'll have George answer that question when we come back.
Yeah, I've got a question for George on the same thing.
Okay, very good. Sean, thanks for the call. You're listening to the Gunslinger Motorman Airplane Hour right here on KRLA, and we'll be back in a minute or two.
Hey, Grant, did you know that the U.S. still has roughly 200,000 military deployed in places like Iraq, Japan, Germany, Syria, South Korea, and other locations?
Yes, I do. Grant Stinchfield and Jennifer Horn here, asking you for your help this holiday season to send care packages to the brave men and women protecting and serving so far from home and family. For us, many of them will be forgotten without any reminders of home during the holidays. Every single care pack truly makes a difference.
$25, $50, all donations help. And for those blessed more than most, your one-time gift of $5,000 to Move America Forward sends 200 care packs. For your generous donation, you'll join Grant and I for breakfast just after the Morning Answer show. That is so cool.
So let our deployed military heroes know how.
My friend Annie wants to know if somebody wants to buy airplane pictures.
George probably knows where you can buy those. Military planes or regular.
Does your plane dude want to buy some bitchin' plane pics?
Well, no, I've got plenty. Thank you.
Did you hear that, Andy? He's got plenty. Yeah, this is the news break and everything.
Yeah.
Special counsel Jack Smith
Yeah, they just announced it last week, the Toyota Prius car of the year.
Wow. I tell you, that thing, it's a small street, and it's my back way to get home sometimes, and it took me a minute, but by the time I seen just a little bit of smoke come out of that, the guy got out of the car, and by the time I got there, that thing was just burning. You could feel it with my window closed, everything. You could feel the heat coming through.
Yeah,
it's
those,
man,
those battery fires are real intense.
Could you imagine being in an airplane and that happening?
Oh, that's what bothers me.
Yeah.
You better have an eject button, blow you right out of that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
We got 4 calls. They're all for you.
I'm sorry.
Don't be.
Pains come with simply getting older, but it doesn't mean you have to accept it. That's why I want to tell you about a special lady.
Is that Gorka? What his name is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice man. I met him a bunch of times through here.
Good, yeah.
He's taller than Leon. He's about 6'5".
Very distinct voice, too.
Oh, yeah.
Line 2, there's a gentleman, Adam from Burbank.
Okay.
He has a suggestion for the last caller on the Churchfield catalog. It has car stereos and installation advice and things like that.
Oh.
I didn't know if you wanted to just hit him real quick and he could spit it out, and then we can get to the airplane question.
I don't know much about radios.
Yeah, okay.
I just thought,
Sure
I forgot the gentleman's name already. I'm so busy in here.
I think it was Sean.
Okay, so yeah, for Sean's Forerunner, he said the Churchfield catalog would have advice, probably a fit in that would just go right in and replace.
Somebody else calling.
I'm getting
Sundays at 9 p.m. Join attorney and radio host Andrew Kim, a self-identified American immigrant, sharing his no-holds-barred insight into the current political, social, and cultural trends in America. Now more than ever, America needs the perspective of freedom and peace-loving immigrants to awaken its cherished Judeo.
Tesla sent thousands and thousands of cars back to China. Oh, I thought that picture.
Why? Blow China up? Burn China to the ground?
Clicked off.
Violent extremists, and they must be dealt with. MAGA Republicans threaten the very foundation of our republic.
Thousands of new Tesla Model 3 and Y forced to sell back to China.
Wow.
6,500 Tesla vehicles going back to China.
Wow.
It's a story about it. I mean.
Well, they don't build them in China though, do they?
There's some of them they build. China's moving it. I mean, Tesla. Every car manufacturer is making them. I don't know why. They're sending them back to China.
Oh, okay. So China is making some Teslas over there.
I would assume so.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Whether this is correct, but it's got a whole article. I just happen to remember.
Bring it to you first with the facts, then the opinions.
The answer.
Two girls for every boy. Dirty four wagon and they call it a woody. Surf City, here we come. You know it's not very cherry, it's an oldie but a goodie.
Heck of a singer.
I only did it for a living forever. Welcome back to the Gunslinger Motorman, the airplane show. And really quick, for Sean, let's get to Adam from Burbank has a suggestion for our last caller. Adam, go ahead real quick.
Yeah. The Crutchfield catalog has been around forever, and I recently ordered some stuff from them, and they give you stuff that will match any car. It will look like a factory installation and instructions and customer service. As Leon knows, he's all about customer service. But I got one more question for Leon.
Okay.
I bought a 2000 Mitsubishi Montero Sport. It had a blown engine. I had to pay the tickets on it. I dropped a used engine in it for $2,200, and he put a new radiator. Everything's new. Do you think I did a good deal?
Well, I'm always leery about buying a used engine because they don't tell you the truth when you buy an engine from a wrecking yard unless you know the mileage and happen to see the car that it's coming out of. The problem is when you buy a used engine, like when I had my shop, if you tell me you want a used engine, I can get it. There's no warranty. If the engine is defective in any way, you pay labor again. When you buy a remanufactured engine, it's all covered under warranty. So this is one of the problems that I'm telling people to be very careful when you buy a used engine, used transmission, any of these things, because unless you're doing it yourself, you got to pay the labor to do it all over again. They always tell you when you go buy a used engine, no problem, something goes wrong, I'll give you another one. But you got to pay all the labor.
Hello? He's a backyard guy out of Whiteman, by Whiteman Airport, and the engine runs great. I mean, it shows no signs of trouble.
Well, that's good. You're lucky.
Yeah.
You're lucky. You came out okay. But I'm just saying for people who are thinking about getting a used engine, because they save a lot of money from a remanufactured or a new engine, then it's just a big gamble. But you got a guy that you know is doing the work. He would probably do it again free for you. But it's a big.
He was recommended by a friend of mine who bought a used engine from him in her Sentra, which went Versa. Nissan Versa went 450,000 miles on the original engine, still on the original transmission.
That's
not bad for
impressive.
a $12,000
No,
car.
not bad. I would not buy a 400,000 mile engine used and expect it's going to get good service out of it.
Well, it was like leaking air around one of the cylinders. The compression was bad, so finally. And her brother is like a service writer. So, but this guy is good, and I would go back to him. But I got lucky. You're right, sir.
You are a lucky man.
Adam, thanks for the call.
I may need to contact you about that Mitsubishi in the future, so let's hope we can hear you again somewhere on the air.
All right, thanks so much.
I'll follow you to a podcast or anywhere.
But I'll be telling you. I'll be letting the word out.
Adam, thanks for the call. Take
All
care.
right.
Take care. Okay, so go ahead, George.
So we're going to answer the previous caller's question about electric airplanes. And as cars got developed with electricity powered, so are airplanes. It'll be an event in the future. Initially, it's going to be probably vertical lift, helicopter-type machines for close-in city transportation. I believe, from what I've been reading about it, a hybrid airplane is more likely than a pure electric. It's just the weight of all those batteries is going to be a real problem in an airplane, much more than it would be in a car or a truck. So there's that issue. And then, of course, we know there's occasionally battery fires, and that would be a devastating thing in an airplane, needless to say. So I think a smaller battery and a hybrid configuration is probably the way things are going to be going in that regard.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Our phones are blowing up. Let's get to Mark. He's been waiting an awful long time. Mark in Arcadia. He's got questions for you, Leon. Go ahead.
Go, Mark.
Hello, Mr. Chaplin. I missed your show back in. Let me get this thing off the speaker. Everyone's talking to here. I missed your show since July 16, 2023. And man, you were serious. You're going to be off the air. Well, I got a question for you. Are you there?
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, I thought I got just.
I missed the show as well, so I know how you're feeling.
I missed the show. This question should not bail out. You did a fabulous broadcast, like one of the baseball broadcasters, just like them. You're just the same as them. Happy New Year to you, anyway.
Happy New Year to you, my friend.
My friend, listen. I have a 1986 Toyota two-wheel drive carburetor. You're not gonna believe it. I had it since. Well, about the year 86, about it brand new, of course, and the only owner of it. I let it down since 96 or 97 in that year. Couldn't pass smog. When I was taking it to have a smog before, it's like pulling teeth out of these people. I took it to a smog control. They didn't even want to tell me. I don't know what it is. Well, they didn't pass smog at all. Well, listen, I've been sitting in my apartment of space for over 20-something years. So let's count from 96, from 2006, 16, 20-something years. Let's count 2006, 96, 06, 16. So then maybe going on almost.
What's the problem? It doesn't pass smog?
Pardon me?
What's the problem you're having with it?
Well, it couldn't pass smog, and not that. I have not started up in those years right after that, okay? Here's the thing. The gas is still, probably I need glue inside
That's not good. If you let it sitting with gas in it and all that, you may be time to call a junkyard company. Much as I hate to say it, because you got a high maintenance just to get it running again.
Yeah,
you got a brake system.
I didn't ever push the pedal into the motor, which I didn't do. And the oil at that time, I had changed oil and tuned up and everything, but it just did not pass smog. It was a short bit, 5-speed, 4-cylinder, a carburetor, of course.
Still a good car, but it's going to cost a lot to get it going again. You know, if you had it sitting for a long time, trying to get, especially a carbureted engine, and even fuel injection would be the same, is the gasoline is spoiled. You're going to have, several $1,000s just to get it running again, and then you're going to wonder if it's going to pass smog. So it may be very expensive. And I'm telling you the truth.
What do you think is going to be various price just to get it giddy up again? In other words, what do you think?
Yep. You may
look for a motory.
You may have to get a job for another lifetime.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, listen, Mark. We're coming up on a commercial, and we got a lot of phone calls to get to. Thanks for the call, and be listening.
Okay, I sure will.
Thank you, sir. Take care. Okay, let's get to Kathy and Whittier. This is a question for Leon, but up my alley, because she's got a question about an older car. How old?
Well, I've got a 90 and a 92, so not that old.
That ain't that old. Go ahead.
But they're both Fords, and they both run, but it's just like nuanced things that drive me crazy, where the check engine light comes on, and so I want to get them looked at and maybe tricked up a little bit. And do you just take it to somebody and then just have them ship you out to where they think you need to go?
Well, go to a qualified shop. Ask your pharmacist or your doctor or your best friend what shop they go to, and let them diagnose the car. It's easy to check what the check engine light is. We put a computer on it, and they'll give you a code, and then they, pay $100 or $200 and have the whole car completely gone over, brakes, compression, everything, and then take it from there. Whether you want to spend the money, and it's not bad. It's not bad with a 90. I thought you were talking about an old car. To me, that's not old.
Yeah, me neither. 1990.
Well, what about a 74 Alpha that has been sitting? That's another one. It makes me sick what you were saying to that poor gentleman about his
if it's
car.
been sitting.
Yeah, it has.
And especially outside.
Yeah.
Inside is better, but if sitting outside, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
Yeah. Is it worth it, or do you have to go to an Alpha specialist probably on that?
With the older car you're talking about?
The 74 Alpha. The 74 Alpha. Yeah, the dozen
74
one.
Alpha.
Yeah.
I hope you got a big checkbook.
Nope.
An Alpha. Wow, parts are hard to get. Parts are extremely hard to get for that car. You need to go somebody specializes now in Alpha, those brand of cars. Somebody may have a lot of parts for it, et cetera, but boy, that could be a high maintenance car. Not that I dislike the Alpha, it's just the fact it's been sitting and it's an import car, and
that's going to be tough to get parts for.
It's going to be tough, very tough to get parts for it.
Okay, we're coming up on a break.
Buy it? You want to buy it, Leon?
I don't think you got the $500 for this one, do you?
No, not today. $500. No.
Okay. Thanks for the call. Take care now.
Thank you. God bless you.
You're back on live radio. Thank you for broadcasting.
Couldn't agree more. Take care.
Take care.
Okay, you're listening to the Motorman Gunslinger. You're taking first place here. Anyway, you're listening to us. This is the Gunslinger Hour. Well, it's not even that anymore. It's the Gunslinger Show right here on KRLA, and we're going to be back in just a minute. Hey, Jeff from Gunslinger's Gun Shop and Auctions in Azusa and the City of Orange. I believe in the Second Amendment, and
is the same age you are, Leon.
That's not fair. They didn't even listen to me on time. We got
That's right.
an Alpha 74 Alpha car.
Wow. That's a shame. But
And get comment for Leon, Mrs. Leon, comment for Jeff and Leon, comments for Leon, and somebody wants to ask me about a Helms truck. That's our phone calls at the moment.
Gotta take your calls.
Well, we'll get to Annie next. That was the one that was asking about the airplane pictures.
Oh, right.
She's a
Okay.
good friend.
All right.
It's your show. You should get more.
I'm getting the biggest kick out of this. Don't worry about it.
February 17th, go to gunslingerauctions.com.
This is definitely a bucket list thing for me. So.
Oh yeah.
That's gunslingerauctions.com.
Phone calls. We're going to just jump right to them if you guys don't mind. Let's get to my friend Annie in Yorba Linda. Annie, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. I'm sitting here with, I was saying, this is kind of a bucket list thing for me because I have wanted to do a show with Leon forever, and so I finally get to do it, and people are calling, and it's just fantastic. So I am very happy guy.
This has been a wonderful show, and I'm very grateful for the airplane fella. He's so knowledgeable and is sharing so much great information.
What airplane
And
pictures
I
were you
just wanted-
talking about?
Oh, the ones from your last auction.
Oh, you should have seen those. They were all World War II. They
Yeah.
were signed by Chuck Yeager. Oh, they were all lithographs. Oh, they were beautiful.
Yeah, autographed lithographs with numbered ones. Those are pretty valuable depending on what the subject was and what have you. So those you might want to hang on to. Or,
but we ran these through my last auction, and boy, some of them did great, and some of them just laid flat. It was really weird.
It's a mixed market. You're never sure.
Anyway, Annie, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, and I just wanted to thank you for the show. This has been wonderful. And Leon, I just wanted to tell you that listening to you is like sitting at the feet of Jesus. And so for me especially, you sound like my grandpa. And so I've listened to you for so many years. But I wanted you to know I worked for an automotive defense firm for I defended car dealers. How crazy is that? But years ago, I think I'm remembering right, you had a motorman school where you could go and you could learn things. And I remember I was just a baby paralegal, and I thought, I want to go to the motorman school because then I wouldn't get laughed at like vehicle inspections from mean defense attorneys.
I was doing a lot way
Am
back.
I remembering right?
Yeah, I remember I was doing some with the Peterson Automotive Museum. They offered me, and
So what I'm thinking in your spare time, in your spare retired time, do that. Go back to the Motorman University, and I will come. I'll be your student.
I would love to do that. Actually, I would love to go and have people come in. I was thinking about doing, and this is true, I was thinking about contacting some retirement homes, where people would, and I'd go in and so much entertain him, talk about cars, talk about the past, and what cars were their best cars, what car was your first date in, and et cetera, et cetera.
Oh.
And so I'm still interested in doing that. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, bless your heart.
God bless you, Amy,
Well,
for the kind words.
I just thank you all so much, and it was a great show.
Thank you, man. Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
We're going to have to do this again when it's not New Year's Eve because I think we'll even have more phone calls. All right, Annie, thanks. Go ahead.
I guess that says a lot about my plans for New Year's.
All right, very good. I hope you guys had a good time shooting. And you guys got to come by and let's go do lunch so John can say hey to Keiki.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Love you guys.
Talk to you soon. Take care. You want to keep going with phone calls? You want to talk a little bit?
Whatever you want to do.
We got lots
It's
of
your
phone
show.
calls. We got lots of phone calls.
Take some gun calls.
Let's get to Sue in Whittier. She's been waiting the longest, and she misses you. So go ahead, Sue. Say hello to Leon.
Hey, Leon. I enjoy listening to you back in the day, a long time ago. I understood you perfectly, and I called into your show, and I thought I would honor you by pronouncing oil the way you did.
Oh. Did you check y'all? Yeah, I had to learn to pronounce a lot of words different coming from the South. And believe it or not, my mother was a school teacher, and I lived next door to my grandparents, who hear me talk about my grandmother a lot. And he was a minister, but my grandmother was a principal of school. You think they would have taught me how to pronounce certain words. So I blame them.
I want to apologize because you thought I was calling you old.
That's all. No, I'm not old yet. No. Yeah, but did you change your all lately? That's true. I still get kidded about that.
Well, anyway, I really loved your show, and my first car was an MGA, and I like to think that was the last true roadster that was ever on the road.
MGA, that's a nice car, built in England, MG. George had an MG.
I sure did, yeah.
George was a big MG guy.
MGB Roadster, loved it.
Yeah. They were good cars.
Well, I love to drive around just to hear that thing burble. It was
burble. That was a new one. I got to learn that. Car burbling.
It's sitting right next to
the British cars were really phenomenal sounding back then, back in the day.
Well, British cars, they made a big mistake way back when because, in my opinion, British cars should have been the small car capital of the world. They taught the world. I mean, they were the first to have front-wheel drive in a car. They were the first to have four-cylinder engines, good, smooth running four-cylinder, and the Japanese took over that market. See, the Japanese took over. But England should have been the motorcycle capital of the world and the small car capital of the world. They gave it up.
Well, it sure was tough to replace anything that you'd put on them because they'd get stolen right away.
You look at the car, it didn't get stolen.
Well, I don't know where it is now. But anyway, enjoyed the show, and thank you, Jeff, for doing this.
Absolutely, you bet. Thanks. Thanks for the call. We'll talk to you again. Take care. We still got more calls. In fact, we got a couple of lines open now if you guys want to call. It's 866-870-5752. You want to talk to Leon about cars? You want to talk to Jeff about guns? You want to talk about George about airplanes? Give us a call, 866-870-5752. And let's get to... who's been waiting the longest here? Let's get. Here's a question for me about a car. Butch in La Habra, what can we do for you?
Hey, yeah, Motorman. Actually, I want to talk about the Helms panel truck that Jeff bought.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was talking about last week, and I want to hear more about it.
Well, it's a 1960. It's a GMC, but it's a Chevy Apache, which is kind of a hybrid GMC Chevrolet deal, which just means it's really hard to get parts for. Yeah, 1970 when Helms went out of business, they threw a wide open auction and they sold all their automobiles, all their old Helms trucks, all that stuff, and the guy that bought my particular one was there. He was, in his 20s at the time, bought it, and he turned it into an old hunting truck. It's the old panel truck.
We got one at the Peterson Museum.
That's the original Divco.
Right.
Yeah. This is a 1960, so it's
Okay.
much more modern. And he got rid of the straight six and the 3 on the tree and all that, and he put in a 350 with a 350 and a 4 9-inch rear end, and turned it into a nice truck. Unfortunately, you remember Ronco? Brought to you by Ronco, the father-in-law gift of the world. Everything. This guy had everything Ronco you could, and Ronco should have been the name because nothing worked. And we had to strip all this horrible spaghetti wiring, all this junk that he had in there. So he had a CB radio in there still, and we got rid of all that stuff. And I turned it back into a functional Helms truck, and it looks great. It runs like a champ. I kept the 350. We just tuned it up and did a little work on the tranny, and it runs great.
That's exactly what I wanted to ask you. What did it come with, and what did you put in it? So you kept it like the way it came, a 350. That's great.
Yeah. Well, again, the original was a.
Anyway.
Yeah, the original motor was the Blue Flame, the 235.
235 six-cylinder.
Yeah, straight six. And the 3 on the tree. I don't remember which Chevy tranny was it. What was the number on that one?
3 on the tree.
Okay, yeah. Automotive, and with, the non-synchroed first gear.
Right.
But the guy that I bought it from...
You got to learn to double clutch it. Double clutch, you could get it in first.
Yeah, otherwise you got to be at a complete stop. But the man I bought it from, Mr. Williams, he had changed it all over, and I didn't see a point in putting it back that way. I made it look like a Helms truck. And of all the cars that I have, hands down, far and away, my 63 Vet, my 55 Chevys, the 32 Ford, nothing gets the attention that Helms truck.
Really?
Yeah, because I had the Helms sign put back on the side. I had it painted Helms yellow. And, man, I drive that thing down the freeway. People are following me, pictures and video, and thumbs up and yelling. It's so crazy. I actually had... on the back door, it says, "Yep, it's really a Helms truck." I had that painted on there because people always ask. It's like, yeah, it really is. I have the drawers, which they're oak drawers in a
big,
plywood box.
Drawers.
They're 6 feet long.
Right.
Donut drawer.
Yeah, but I took them out because they're so big, they're so heavy, and they creak so bad. They screw with the driving of the car. You go around a turn, and it sways. Yeah, so I took them out. I have them, and really big speakers fit back there. Plus bicycles or dogs or whatever you want to put back. So that's what I do with that. Okie doke.
Well, that's a good story.
Thank you, sir.
Because I used to have a 60 Impala. It had the 348, the original big block.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was a truck engine put in a car.
I started working on it, and I started turning into a hot rod. And guess what I did? A brand new 409.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great motor.
Yeah, right.
Great car, great motor. Okay, Butch, thanks for the call.
4-speed hydro to go with it.
Nice, very good. Butch, we're coming up on a break.
You know about the 4-speed hydro behind a 409.
I built 4 hydros. I know all about them.
There you go.
I know you do.
Butch,
with a 409. Okay, I had a monster when I was a kid.
Okay, Butch, okay, take care. We got to go.
Thank you.
Okay, you're listening to the Gunslinger Motorman Airplane. Well, we only got a half hour, and I forgot to say power packed.
Power pack
second hour
show.
We only got a half hour left. We got a bunch of phone calls to get to. You're listening to us right here on KLA. We'll be back right after this.
You women have heard of jalopies, you've heard the noise they make, but let me introduce my new Rocket 88. Yes, it's straight.
Hi, folks. This is Kathleen Wells, host of the Naked Truth Report, Sunday at 6 p.m. I hope it doesn't interfere with your dinner time. We're going to talk about, the regular stuff, how like the deep state players, the global elites, the political donors, the central bank, the rhinos, and the Democratic Party are destroying America. Yeah, these are the things we discuss on the Naked Truth Report. So join us next Sunday at 6 p.m. It's going to be great.
Tune in to the Naked Truth Report, Sundays at 6 p.m. here on AM 870, The Answer.
The end of the year is a time for reflection. A lot of time spent thinking about what we might have done better last year, what we want to do better next year. One thing you can still do before the end of the year is to send care packages to our troops overseas. Hi, this is Larry Marino on behalf of Move America Forward. You've heard me talk about the need of sending care packs, the importance of remembering our troops, and the dangers they face. Nothing says that more than just the headlines in the news. You saw that 3 American service members were injured by a drone attack in Iraq on Monday, on Christmas Day. These brave service members risking their lives in service to this country. Won't you help send care packs? Your gift of $500 sends 20, 250 cents 10, 100 cents 4. Call 833, the number 2 and the word troops. 833, the number 2 and the word troops, or am870theanswer.com. Thank you.
The Answer is Mark LaFenton.
Now, this is not just an incompetent administration. It is filled with liars and idiots. They don't take credit for anything that they've done. The border's not secure. Fentanyl coming in, produced by Communist China, pushed by the Mexican drug cartels. 110,000 young people mostly have died, and we're told the border is safe.
Mark LaFenton, weekdays at 3. Find us at am870theanswer.com. Stream us 24/7 on our mobile app. Breaking news and talk you can trust. AM870, The Answer.
Hello, this is Captain Rick inviting you to the Boating Hour every Saturday at 4 p.m. The Boating Hour is filled with news, information, and entertainment about sailing and boating. Each week, the Boating Hour will bring you the latest and greatest essential info about the high seas of Southern California. There'll be something for everyone, from landlubbers to old salts. So tune into the Boating Hour with me, Captain Rick, every Saturday at 4 p.m., right here on AM 870, The Answer.
They're my morning show. On the next Morning Answer, today's top news stories of the day, we take aim at the cancel culture.
Right here, it's Truth Bombs Away and no fake news.
Monday morning at 6 on AM 870, The Answer.
I don't know the words to this, so I'm going to leave it go. Okay, you know what? Let's just get right to it because we got a pile of phone calls to get to. Let's start with who's been waiting along. Oh, this is my buddy Brian, the amp repair guys. You guys ever need an amplifier repaired? Brian is the man to take it to. I've had him do everything from my 1960 Fender Blonde basement amp to he just fixed a Marshall for me not long ago. Brian, what can we do for you?
Hey, Jeff, I got to say that basement's one of the best basements I've ever heard.
Thank you. I love that. It's a great amp.
No, I just want to say thank you to Leon. In my junior high years in the late 70s, Sunday nights were spent for me listening to Dr. Demento on my transistor radio.
Sure.
When I got to high school and I got to my auto shop and discovered cars, I discovered Leon the Motorman. It's like just after high school. And through the years, I listened to Leon all the time on Sunday morning. And now Sunday nights are Gunslingers, and I don't even turn my radio on Sunday mornings now. So, Leon, you need to get something going. My Sundays are empty.
Couldn't agree more. I'm working on something, but stay tuned to Jeff's show, and I'll talk to him from now on. And maybe I'll pay him to have me on the show from time to time. You know.
I tell you what, this has been so much fun. I don't know. We may have to get rid of the other two guys. It's just be me and Leon all the time.
I love it. I love all you guys. I miss you all.
Yeah, and I've also mentioned to Jeff, it's like I'm still waiting to hear when the first Motorman Gunslingers car show is going to be.
Oh, wouldn't that be fun? We tried to do that at the other station with that great big parking lot, and I could have brought 15 of my own. We could have had a show. Right. They wouldn't let us because of COVID or because of insurance or
Insurance. Yeah. And you know, Jeff could sing. We'll get him in front of a band.
Brian's a bass player, and yeah,
Jeff's a good singer. Yeah. You don't want me to sing, and if I start singing, you'll turn the radio off.
Yeah, I had the pleasure to meet Jimmy last week, and my back was turned to him, and I heard the voice. I know who that is.
Jimmy, that's one of my regular guys. He's home with the family tonight.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I've seen Mark in the past. And for your listeners, if you ever get a chance to attend one of Jeff's auctions in person, I highly recommend it. It's a very entertaining time.
I do my best.
He does a good job on the show, I'm sure, as well as at the auctions.
Yeah.
Yes, and again, Leon, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian.
We'll be seeing you soon after your 10 days.
I love you, man.
Yeah, love you too. I'll be in next week to pick up my shotgun.
Very good. Talk to you then. Okay, let's get right over to Brent in L.A. Brent, how are you?
A happy and holy new year, you gallant, gunslinging, flying, supercharged motor menches.
I told you you'd recognize him once we got him on. Yeah. How are you, Brent? What can we do for you?
Great. But, Jeff, I'm a big fan of yours, and I'm thrilled you invited America's Vince Scully of auto mechanics on the show tonight, along with George.
It has been my absolute pleasure, let me tell you.
My pleasure to be on with George and, of course, Jeff.
Well, you know, there's lots of patriotic, power-packed American testosterone pulsing the airwaves tonight. And real Americans need Salem to open a slot for Leon in 2024. Leon, we miss you and need you now more than ever, not only for your automotive expertise, but especially for your down-home common sense promoting American freedom, independence, and individuality.
Yeah, I love it. I'm a real American, I admit it. And What can I say? I love you, Brian. You make me. I can't believe all these niceties I'm getting today, and it's just or this evening. And
I knew this was going to happen. That's why I had you on.
I didn't think
you deserved it. I kept trying to tell you.
No, but I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you, Jeff, for having me on.
Absolutely.
You know, everybody loves you. And Leon, also thank you for coming out so strongly against EVs, or as I'm calling them, evil vehicles.
It's true.
Yeah.
The government is trying to correct our lives, and it's just sooner or later, and they want our houses. This is the thing that gets me with the government, is they want your house to go electric stoves, electric this. So if you don't pay your bill, they can push your button, you don't have any lights in your house, your car don't start. That's something that'll happen in the future. I could be wrong. I've been wrong once before, but
I don't think so.
Well, it's called communism and it's called slavery, and that's why we have to bring an end to it. And that's why I think it's so important for you to get on the air also, because I know you don't like talking politics, but there comes a point where, we now have to talk politics. This is war.
See, every time on the show I would talk politics, just a little, then I would get a lot of emails. Stick to repairing cars, leave politics alone. And
you can do that here, though. I don't
really.
I don't care about my emails. I never answer them anyway. I get 1,400 a day.
Wow.
Yeesh. Okay, Brent, listen, we got a pile of phone calls to get to. Thanks as always.
Thank you, Brent. God bless you, my friend.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Happy New Year.
Okay, let's go to. Okay, we'll get to Mike. He's a regular for us too. Mike, I don't have a lot of time, so kind of make it quick. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll try to make it quick. There's a very important issue called right to repair that affects firearms, cars, computers, personal computers, everything. And that is that if you own something, you're supposed to have a property right in it, including the right to repair it yourself, not send it back to the factory, have a factory authorized or licensed person repair it, or take it to the private repair shop of your choice. I'm wondering, because products now, many of them like cell phones, are being made to make it almost impossible to repair, especially by yourself or a private shop other than the factory. So with cars today, both gasoline and electric, are they being intentionally or unintentionally being made more difficult for an owner who's competent, as I say, a backyard mechanic, to be able to repair their own cars?
Absolutely right. Due to the fact cars are getting better with all computers in them, I'm very mechanical. I can tell you everything about a car, where it works, all the mechanics of it. Everything's electronic. I've got a car now that doesn't have an oil dipstick. You can't check the oil. You can't check transmission fluid. It's all electronic. It's to get you back to the dealer. Independent shops are just going to be a thing in the past unless you specialize in something. Because even the new technicians can't keep up with buying the electronic equipment just to test these cars. And the electronics is just absolutely going wild on these cars.
Yeah, and the smog test equipment, like one smog shop, I talked to the owner, and he said he had to go out of business here in California because California kept passing laws, or maybe it's regulations done without even the legislature getting involved, to make it more and more restrictive to pass the smog test and much, much more expensive to buy the smog test computers and software and equipment.
When I had my shop, one of the biggest overheads I had is buying equipment to test cars. Every year when a new car comes out, Mercedes, and I got to buy something to test that car. Then
is that testing for smog or testing in general?
Testing in general. The smog.
Okay, and then also California, these dictator Democrats in the legislature, I believe they passed a law making it illegal to buy parts, repair parts, or customization parts for your own gun, that you have to take it to a gunsmith. It'll be much more expensive, and they're trying to ban guns every which way they can through the back door.
Right. And ban cars, just got to go to the dealer.
Yep.
The dealers want the business. The manufacturers want the business.
And a lot of people can't afford that. I understand that's even affecting farmers, that they have these John Deere tractors that they're designed or made intentionally so the owners and private shops cannot repair them.
Well, let me ask you a question. Let's assume that you and I own a Cadillac car dealer. And I'd be contacting the dealer or the manufacturer and say, what are you doing for us to get these customers back to me? The guy down the street from me is loaded with cars. He's busy. We're not that busy. So I think a lot of the manufacturers with the electronics is getting to go back to the dealers, and that's what you have to do.
The way you get customers back to the dealer is you offer high quality at a good competitive price. That reminds me of how the Iron or Steel Workers Union. No, I'm sorry. This one was the International Brotherhood of, I think, Electrical Workers. They actually shot the owner of an independent electric shop of electricians because he would not have his employees go union, and they did not want to go union because they made more money being non-union and doing really good work at competitive prices. And then they actually waited outside the home and shot the owner of the business because they didn't want to compete the proper way with high quality and competitive prices.
Well, years ago, they wanted all independent repair shops and dealers to be union, and we voted it down. We just all, including myself, went to Sacramento. We beat that. All the technicians that you hire, they didn't want to go union, and so it's just it was just a no-win situation.
Mike, listen, we got a bunch of more calls to get to.
I think other callers. Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year to you.
To hopefully freer and better New Year, but we're going to have to work for that.
Yes, we are. Thanks for the call, as always. Take care. Okay, really quick, let's get to who's been waiting the longest. Let's get to Matt in Glendale. Has some older cars. Matt, what you got?
Hi. I really enjoyed Leon. I really enjoyed you. I first heard you while I was out in the desert going somewhere, and you came on the radio, and this is the man. I wanted to know, do you still have a shop?
No, I do not have a shop now. I sold it when my wife passed away years ago, and I wanted to do some other things, and so my kids wanted me to spend more time with them. Sunday morning. I'm
sorry you lost her, but I'm glad you got some good children that care.
I have great children. I have the best.
I bet they are, because I can tell you're a gentleman also, and I really appreciate that, especially these days.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I tried my best.
I was wondering if there was any contact information. I'd love to meet you sometime, and I always wanted to come out to your shop, but I was always busy working, and just never made it.
Well, I had a shop in 3rd Street there near Beverly Hills, near the farmers market area for 60 years. I was there, and and I'm not that old. But I was there
39, as we discussed earlier.
But I had a good run.
So is there any way to contact you or not?
Well, I got a website, which is Leon, skfly, @gmail.com. Leon, Leon, sk, fly, @gmail.com.
I'll have to get a friend of mine because I don't have it. I'm very old-fashioned. I don't even have a phone that gets online.
Very good. Matt, we got a bunch of calls to get to. Thanks. We'll talk to you again.
Thanks, Matt. Okay. Happy New Year.
And you're not going to believe this. We got a call for you, George.
Oh, dear.
This is Brian in Burbank. Has questions about. He wants to ask you. Go ahead, Brian.
Hello, Brian. How you doing?
Oh, Brian. Brian.
Hello.
There you are. Okay.
Hello.
Hey, Brian. This
My
is
name's not Brian.
Well, okay. Well, you're right. It says Brain, Brain.
No, I'm Roy. I'm Roy.
Okay.
I'll talk to Leon.
Okay. Well, it says airplane photo question for George. Maybe.
Yeah, that's me. That's Roy. My name's Roy.
Okay. Sorry.
I was really wow! I got Leon on the phone. All the times I've been listening to your show, and I got interested in a lot of the aviation stuff. I was the driver of the first pilot, I believe, to learn to fly at the United Airport in 1935 in an old fleet biplane. But what I want to talk to you about is when I was a kid, quite a long time ago, in the 60s, he brought a picture out of a trunk he had, and I said, "What is this?" He said, "Oh, that's the Spirit of St. Louis." And I said, "Where'd you get that?" He said, "Your granddad took this picture when Lindbergh went on his tour of the United States after his flight and landed in Vail Field in Montebello or Monterey Park, California." So I got a picture of Lindbergh's airplane. It was all turning yellow, but I had it restored and made an 8x10 about it. And it's quite nice. But I told it's not worth too much because it's like a documentary. It's not really like taken by a famous photographer. Now, I was thinking that what I could do with that maybe by 2027, if I'm still around, perhaps an author of a new book, something might want to have that picture. What do you think about that, Leon? Is that something worthwhile? Or
well, George would be better to answer that question.
Go ahead, George.
So it sounds like you've got an original picture of Lindbergh's airplane when it was at Monterey Park, California, after his Paris flight. And
that's one of the fields, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you can have any provenance with that, of proof that it was taken, or proof if you have the original negative, something that makes it very much called collectible item, it could be worth some money. If it's just a framed picture with no history to it, no connection to the actual date that it was taken, you may have a little problem getting much money out of it, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, originally they were saying in these auction houses, well, it has to be by a famous photographer, because otherwise it's just a documentary photograph. You know?
Sure. That's what it sounds like, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like that's what it is, and I'm not sure if a famous photographer it's more the subject and the clarity of the picture, and you can prove where and how it was taken. That would be your keys to making some money on that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, Roy, listen, we're real quick. We're coming up on a commercial.
Okay, real quick thing. Dick Dale came out with a song called "The Girl of the 406." Was there ever a 406?
406 motor?
Ford had a 406.
Yeah, okay.
Ford had a 406, but it was the high-performance version of the 64, 65 Fords with the 406 with the multiple carburetors on it. Solid lifters.
So maybe it was accurate.
It's solid
maybe
lifters.
It was actually what Dick Dale was thinking about that. I don't know.
Sounds like he was talking about a hot rod.
Yeah, it's a hot rod.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roy, thanks for the call. Take care.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Okay, we got one segment left. Can you believe we could do another 3 or 4 of these easily? You're listening to the Motorman Gunslinger George Show right here on KRLA, and we'll be back in just a second. Hey, it's Jeff from Gunslinger's Gun Shop and Auctions again. If you want to buy, sell, or trade a firearm, come to Gunslinger Auctions in a Zoom.
Some of these older people.
I think Roy had been.
I think
he started a little early.
He told me, Brian, I'm not that busy.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Because I didn't clarify, I go, Brian.
When I was doing my show at KBC, and it was real popular, then they put me on 7 to 9 drive time. So I did a show 7 days a week.
No
for
kidding.
KBC for 2 years.
Wow.
But people would call drunk, start swearing. I'd hit the button.
We get that now and again. Yeah.
Because late at night, they're driving home or sitting home listening to the show, and they just, you can tell.
We don't have a delay button in here. I guess they figure because we're Sunday nights that we don't get phone calls. But you're the delay button? Well, again, GunslingerAuctions.com. Well, I'm not bragging, babe, so don't put me down. But I got the fastest set of wheels in town.
That's true.
When someone comes up to me, he don't even try. Cause if it had a set of wings, then I know she would fly. She's my little scoop. You don't know what I got.
And of course, both Leon and I have had little deuce scoots. I still have one.
Yeah, I had a 22T. I have that. I wished I'd have still kept that car. 22T bucket with original tilt steering wheel.
No kidding.
They had a wheel that just tilted on it.
Wow. We still got a couple of people on hold. We got Craig in Anaheim. He has a question about a 4-speed 1957 Chevy truck tranny question. Craig, what can we do for you?
Hello, Gunslingers, Air Flyboys, and Motorman.
Thank you kindly. What can Leon do for you?
I've got a 57 Chevy truck I've had for 45 years. Came with a 265 V8, a 4-speed Hydromatic. I heard Leon talking about Hydromatic transmissions.
I made a living doing hydromatics. I had called Sherwood Hydros. I took one of those and I sold a lot of them. I put it in a lot of cars, Chevy, and since you mentioned the truck, 57 Chevy was the only year that came with a Hydromatic. And so everybody says, well, how do you get it where you fit behind a Chevy, a 409, a 454? And they were really fast, had a low gear, as I bought the 57 bell housings. And that transmission sits at an angle.
Uh-huh.
It don't sit straight. If he may remember, if Greg knows, the transmission's at an angle in there.
Wow.
Yeah, they hang free. The rear motor mounts are set apart on the bell housing, and then the the front motor mounts are on each side of the timing chain cover.
Right.
The transmission actually hangs free. There's no cross member for it.
Right. They didn't have that. They just had this rear engine 2 mounts on the side.
Yep. And so I've got a 55 4-speed hydromatic out of a truck, and the only difference I can see is it's got a dipstick that's only about 8 inches long. You have to remove a plug in the floorboard to access it. But my 57 truck has a long dipstick.
That is correct.
Like a oil. I'm wondering, I've got the engine and transmission out now to rebuild. Would you think that rebuilding, I mean, I'm a purist at heart, rebuilding a 4-speed hydromatic today would be worth it, even though the parts would probably be unobtainium, if I can.
I don't think so. I still look at my toolbox, and I'd rebuild it myself. I got all the tools for the hydromatic. I sold hundreds of them. Thousands of them I sold.
You know, most.
I thought about if I should put in a 700 R4 with overdrive, but I'm really a purist, and I would think that I could search out a transmission shop with an old mechanic who remembers working on them, whether they're Oldsmobile, Cadillac.
What area you live in?
I live in Anaheim by Disneyland.
Anaheim. There's a Leon's transmission shop on Garden Grove Boulevard. And it used to be John there. They can do those transmissions for you.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about those. I was a mailman here in Anaheim for over 20 years, and there's a shop on South Anaheim Boulevard that the guy was rebuilding 4-speed hydromatics. I don't know if he's still even open or in business, but I could search him out. And there's a place on Beach Boulevard Transmissions in Stanton that I think might do it, but I'll look for Leon's
Transmission. There's several shops, but they got one. But when I came to California, I had a job waiting for me as a transmission expert, and I must admit, I knew automatic transmission. That's where the money was made if you were a mechanic, and you're getting paid for that. And I learned automatic transmission like the back of my hand. I was always fascinated with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no park on it. All you do is put it neutral and set the handbrake and shut the engine off.
That's not true. Reverse was park. That is not true.
Yeah, I pull it into reverse. I put it into neutral to start it.
Yeah, put it in neutral to start. Start in neutral. It has no park, but reverse. When you cut the engine off, you put it in reverse, and you can hear that what they call it, a parking paw. Click.
Yeah. Oh, it does park and click then.
That's right.
Okay.
Reverse is your park.
Craig, we got to get to one more phone call. Thank you. Thanks for calling in. Okay, we got one less phone call, and then we'll wrap it up. And man, we went through 2 hours awful quick.
Thank everybody. God bless
Ken
you
in
all.
Studio City, what can we do for you?
Hey guys, first of all, let me wish the three of you a very happy, healthy, and new year, and God, guns, and gasoline forever.
Absolutely.
Thank you kindly.
Back to you. Thank you.
Amen.
And no liberals forever too.
Wouldn't that be something?
Amen.
Yeah. You know, they need a vaccination for that. Anyway, what's your question, Ken?
Okay. Leon, I understand that you can't answer every single question that is thrown your way. And years and years ago, I called you on the radio and I stumped you. I have
what?
I threw a hard one at you.
That's all right.
With my 67 Corvette 427 435 Roadster, but today's question, and I hope it's not a hard one, but I think it might be. My everyday car is a 1993 Cadillac with the last Cadillac 4.9 engine, not the North Star. The 4.9.
Does it still run?
Engine.
And that's front wheel drive. Is it still running?
It runs beautifully.
You're lucky. That 409 was an all aluminum engine, and they had a lot of problems with that.
No, the heads are cast iron. The heads are cast iron.
With that aluminum block and all.
Yeah, aluminum block, but the heads are cast iron. This is not the North Star. This is pre-North Star.
Okay.
And it's the old roller tappet push rod engine. But the problem that I'm having is that I have the coolant is slowly disappearing somewhere. It's not going in the oil. The oil isn't showing up in the coolant. It's not going in. It's not the heater core. And the only thing that I've noticed is at night, on cool nights, whatever running temperature I'm at, I've got steam coming out of the tool, the tailpipes, but it runs beautifully.
You got a head gasket leaking.
Well, but it's not going into the oil.
It don't have to. If you got a slight leak, are you kidding? I've done a lot. Just because you got a head gasket leak doesn't always go in the oil. The only way it goes in the oil if you just had a complete head gasket blow out completely.
Yeah.
But if it's just seeping out, it's being burned and it's going out the tailpipe, and that's very common.
Yeah.
You got to have somebody run a cylinder leak down test. A cylinder leak down test. They pressure test each cylinder, fill up the radiator all the way to the top, run a cylinder leak down test where you put air in the system, pressure, and if you see bubbles coming out of the radiator, guess what? You got a bad head gasket. Period.
Oh, heck. Thank you.
Okay, Ken, thanks for the call.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you.
Oh, really quick, we got Gary. He's calling about, Gary, we got like 30 seconds. Go.
Okay, quick. First things, George, what is the status of the civil aviation airports like Whiteman? There was comments that they might close that down, even Santa Monica Airport. Second question for Leon, in terms of looking for a used Hyundai Sonata, what model years would you recommend that have timing chains in the engine, not timing belts?
Okay, real quick on the Santa Monica, that airport is going to be closed in 2 years from now. It's already a done deal, and it was the people in the Santa Monica area that closed it down. Whiteman's has some complaints. It's not going to get shut down for quite a while, if ever, because it's a reliever airport for Burbank and Van Nuys and for emergency services aircraft. So that's going to be around for quite a while. But thanks for your question.
Okay, that's good to hear. Thank you very much. And as for the cars, what would Leon recommend?
I didn't understand the question.
Oh, the question is I'm looking for a used Hyundai Sonata, the earlier model, say from 2000 to 2015 or so.
Okay.
Read a little bit about them, and what would you recommend? I want one with a timing chain that's reliable with a timing chain in the engine, not a timing belt.
Timing chain lasts longer, but it's more expensive to repair if it goes bad. But it's not bad to have a belt. You just have to change the belt about 80 and 90,000 miles, and that's it. So anytime you get one with a good engine, then you'll be fine.
Okay, Gary, we got to go. Okay.
Thanks, Gary.
Well, this was exciting.
Well, thank you for having me on, Jeff. I want to wish you and the family a Happy New Year.
Oh, you got to say the thing about the smile.
Oh, my smile is just a little curve that sets a lot of things straight.
Just like this. Thank you. I appreciate everybody tuning in on New Year's Eve.
Happy New Year, everyone.
This has been a blast. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
Sunny weather, happy trails to you. Till we meet again.
Any money?
I don't either. I don't know what you're talking about.
Fun. Thanks. Leon, thanks for the invite.
Till we meet again.
Well, 2 hours went by quick.
What's that?
2 hours went by very quick.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
I don't think we hardly got to talk.